I was washing dishes at UCLA with a Bachelor of Arts degree from the Theater Arts Department, Motion Picture Division in 1971. A friend of mine, Retha, my brother's girlfriend, told me that there was a trainee program for people who would like to become assistant film editors that was offered by the Association of Motion Picture and Television Producers Association. I threw down my robe and I said, how many spots are open? She said 5. I said, one of those spots are mine. So I hustled on over to Dart Industries on La Cienega and 3rd Street and had an interesting panel discussion with people peppering me with questions. Chuck Silvers, who turned out to be my mentor for a while, and I wound up doing most of the talking to one another. So Chuck was instrumental in getting me into the film business. Chuck was also instrumental in helping Steven Spielberg when Spielberg was climbing the fence at Universal trying to get into Universal to be a director. I was appointed trailer editor for domestic television syndication at MGM from 1975 to 1978. In 1977, I bought my first house, and at this point, my only house. I've since lost it, sold it in 1989. Paid $55,000 for it, sold it for $298,000. In a year and a half, the money was gone. Don't know where it went. Sure would like to have had that house, though. Beautiful house, right across the street from Mrs. Helen Pepperdine. Her husband started Pepperdine University. She was a good friend of mine. She's an older woman. She was in her 80s when I knew her. I was about 28 years old when I bought a 2-story, 3-bedroom house. Huge backyard, huge front yard. 1607 something. That was the address. 1607. That was me. They call me the Count. They call me the Squire of the block. Someone else called me the Young Turk. I didn't know how they meant that, so I took it as a compliment. Young Turk Thomas. Everybody else was kind of ultra-conservative. It was a upper-class black neighborhood, primarily, although it was mixed with a lot of other different racial groups. I was the editor-in-chief, columnist, feature writer, and copy reader for the newspaper. Subsequently, I was also the featured senior editor and senior writer of the Boyle Heights bilingual Spanish and English newsletter. So done a lot of newsletter type things because I started off at Los Angeles High School as a feature editor, feature page editor, columnist, and for the Blue and White, the Los Angeles High School newspaper. I was very well known in high school in Los Angeles, even though I didn't go to the reunion. I went to the first 2 reunions, the 10-year reunion, the 20-year reunion. The 30-year reunion, I didn't go. I got 2 calls from people asking me if I was going to go, and I said, nah, why go to Beverly Hills and give them $100 for dinner when you can't even spend 10 minutes on the phone talking to me not having seen me in 30 years. So maybe I'll go 10 years from now, because I would like to see the people. The young lady who called me, Rana, said that well, I'd rather go to a reunion than go to somebody's funeral. Well, I said I don't plan on dying anytime soon, but if it happens, it happens, you know. It's all part of life. I was kind of devilish. I'm kind of an irascible personality, I guess, at times. And I use a lot of tongue-in-cheek humor. Now that I got these braces, my tongue is on both sides of the cheek, so to speak. Anyway, so I'm probably the only person who's ever turned down a Steven Spielberg picture. Shakira also turned down Spielberg because she said she didn't speak English well enough. I turned him down because I was, quote unquote, in love with a Pan American airline stewardess named Sheila. Her father was the biggest black contractor in Washington, D.C., and at that time I had an Alfa Romeo, 1974 Alfa Romeo Spider Veloce convertible, fire engine, red color. I drove from Los Angeles to D.C. to see her one time and made it in 3 days. I was averaging 800 miles a day. Half the time I must have been sound asleep or partially asleep. I don't know how I got there. I don't even know how I maneuvered through the gateway, but I found her place like I was like a homing pigeon. Love will do that sometimes. But anyway, while I was there, I got 3 telephone calls from Michael Kahn, Spielberg's pretty much primary film editor. Michael said, I'd cut my left nut off to get you on the picture. You know, they were paying $900 a week, and that's not even including Saturdays and Sundays. Michael liked to work all the time. Being on location, he would have worked probably about 15 hours a day. I knew that because I'd worked with Michael on 3 successive pictures. And when I finally came to my senses and called Michael and to tell him that I would accept, and I wanted the job, I'll take it, Michael. He said, oh, I just gave it to Jeff Rowland. And he didn't want to use Jeff, but he wound up using him because I wasn't responding to the 3 frantic cross-country telephone calls. So, funny thing in Hollywood, if you turn someone down for a picture, they don't ever call you again. I got a call from Sidney Poitier once, or his film editor, Pembroke Herring, to work on a picture, and at the time I was working on another picture and I didn't want to leave it. So that was the last time I heard from Pembroke, and it's funny that way. I'm not that way. If I call someone and ask them to help me on something and they can't do it, and if I want them again, I'll certainly call, you know, because there are many things that happen. It's not an insult to me for people to turn me down. If it's important to me, I keep on them because I want them, and that's the way I am. And I guess I'm a different breed of cat than most people, than some people that you might meet. Someone made a snide comment on a picture I showed on YouTube called Courtin' for Polito. I think it was Clackin, Klakkin. Everyone else had really positive comments to make, and then Clackin revisited my movie, and he begged me to delete his comment. So I left his comment up for about 2 weeks to let him sweat and squirm. And finally I deleted it. But usually I leave people's comments up, and unless they're just atrocious or demeaning or denigrating or just out and out racist or something. So if you can't make a comment and you want to let me know that you were there, just say this: Veni, vedi, veci. It's Latin. It means I came, I saw, I conquered. It goes Veni, V-E-N-I, vedi, V-E-D-I, Veci, V-E-C-I. If you just want to say I came, just say Trainee. If you want to say I came, I saw, say Trainee, Veci. If you came, you saw, you like what you saw, say that. If you don't want to press one of those buttons to rank it, because I'm kind of curious as to the rankings, but it's more important that I hear what people have to say, what they think, what moved them, what didn't move them, what bothered them, not just what their thoughts are on what they've seen. If they don't know anything at all to say, they can use any one of those three Latin terms, and it'll bring a smile to these tired eyes. Someone said, looking into my eyes is like seeing into the universe. And this is one of my latest subscribers. And I thought I was quite touched by that. And I wanted to ask him, when you looked into the universe, what did you see? Because there was one young lady in a picture that I did who looked into another girl's eyes and says, I don't see anything in her eyes. And I thought that was the funniest thing, because it's so true. People say things that they think a person wants to hear. I say things because of the way I feel and about their movie or their what they've done, the complicated aspects of it, the tremendous amount of energy it takes to make a movie, a tremendous amount of creativity, tremendous amount of time and patience, and so I automatically give every person's video 5 stars, and I always leave them a good comment so they have something to munch on, something to eat, and that's pretty much the way I am. I like to see comments on what I do, positive or negative, it's fine with me. I learn a lot either way. I even learn from the comments that people make, that other people make. So it's a continuous learning process, this YouTube thing. I like the interactive nature of the internet. I like the spontaneity of YouTube. I like the people that I met on YouTube. I like the people that I met on MySpace. And I'm beginning to make friends on live video, although I'm not on that site much. I'm beginning to get about 50 viewers who are actually looking at my material on YouTube. I've been averaging about 500 viewers over the course of a year. And at first it was slim pickings, but lately a lot of people have been watching my earlier films, and I guess appreciating them for the creativity that my friends and I showed in making them. So I haven't seen many current movies, although last night at my friend's home in Colorado we saw Duma, D-U-M-A, and I stayed awake on that picture throughout because I have a tendency to fall asleep whenever the lights go down, and I also have a tendency to fall asleep if the picture's dull. I also have a tendency to fall asleep just in general because I'm a sleepy-headed guy, and I wake up at night actually when the day is cool or the night becomes cooler. Something about the night air wakes me up. So that's a little about me, and I'm doing a lot of acting, not by choice, but through necessity.